This is the best, the godliest, and most amazing rogue build in Season 5. And it's no other than the Urinator, because you'll be peeing all over the place, busting out frozen kidney stone explosions upon your enemies. Now this build was already god tier in Season 4, and it has since received the most massive of buffs. But before checking that out, let's take a look at how the build works for the shit newbies that haven't played it before. For starters, this build relies entirely around the Scoundrel's Kiss. Now, this beauty of a gear piece is absolutely massive, like my dick. Nah, just kidding, it's mid. The latter, that is. The Scoundrel's Kiss is massive. This is due to rapid fire normally being a single target skill, and by turning it into an AoE explosion dumping skill, you'll see why it's so insane. On top of that though, the ring in itself is receiving a massive buff in Season 5. For the skills, you're rocking the same ones as me here if you're speed blasting, and you're ditching dash for smoke grenade if you're pushing. But all that shit is in the planner, so let's talk about the skills at hand. Both dash and shadow step are used for mobility, but now in Season 5, they are also benefiting us further by allowing the usage of tricks of the Trade Legendary node. This just flat out boosted our damage by 25% big hecking damn. This, along with a bunch of changes to the skill tree and an updated Sky Hunter, is the main reason the build just got so much better. When it comes to scaling damage, the build uses Cold Imbuement. And why is that when it doesn't do any damage by itself? Well shit, son. It allows us to both benefit from mixed Cold Imbuement. On top of that though, by turning our rapid fire into a cold skill, we are able to dip into a buttload of different non-physical multipliers for big hecking damn. It also allows us to freeze enemies instantly, which in turn means that we can use all of the lovely crowd control damage aspects for yet more damage. And now you're perhaps starting to see why the damage of this build has turned to insanity. Funnily enough though, all the footage shown is with shit gear, non-updated uniques, and even better, before the pit bosses have gotten nerfed. Previously, the bosses was the biggest issue of this build, as it relies on crowd control and stagger. But now that the pit bosses were forced to eat shit, we'll be able to nuke every single one of them down in one stagger. Like this one right here. Sayonara, dummy. The other way of scaling damage is via our key passive, Precision. This in turn means we want as much crit damage as possible, turning it multiplicative with ease. When it comes to the last skill, Caltrops, this benefits us in two ways. First one being Enhanced Caltrops, which is amazing on bosses, but it's also a trap skill, meaning we can utilize nodes such as Deadly Ambush for an additional lovely multiplier. And for the defenses, there's a question I get asked way too frequently, and that is about Dark Shrouds. Because in every goddamn rogue build, we need Dark Shroud stacks to stay alive. But it's not on the bar, so how in the hell does that work? Well damn, it's all due to the Umbrous aspect, baby. By slapping this on, we're gaining unlimited Dark Shroud stacks without it even being on our bar. Oh, and did I say that Dark Shroud is being buffed in Season 5? No? Shit, well it is, my lovely viewer, and we're going to become unkillable gods because of it. Alright, so that's a bit about the basics. Let's check out the gear and aspects making this amazing build work now. But first, let's just blow this boss up. Starting off, I recommend using Shaco when you get it. As a starter, you can look for any random helmet that has cooldown reduction and slap on Aspect of Might. For titty protection, slap on the Umbrous aspect real good and get a buttload of Dark Shroud ranks. If you do this, I can assure you that your character will turn an immortal god with ease. We're also trying to temper dodge chance on our gear. And why is that? Because if we dodge, we get to keep our precious Dark Shroud stacks. And I don't know about you, but that's a hell yes for me. For the gloves, I'm looking to grab these and the new cold clip aspect. Now, we're obviously not using basic skills for damage, but what we're after is the 20% big dam against frozen targets. It's also going to help us with staggering bosses a bunch, making the build even stronger. Now here's something important, so listen up, damn it. On the panties, you have two options. Either you go full big dick such as myself here, or you grab the assimilation aspect. Knowing this is important, as it's the easiest way to swap into some defensives if needed. It's also going to be massive if you temper the second wind here, seeing as it's changed in Season 5 and now grants us barrier. And by tempering it, we are saving precious skill slots to be used elsewhere. When it comes to the boots, there is but one thing that is mandatory, and that is that you grab attacks, reduce, evade, cooldown. And why is that? Well, shit. If you evade in between each rapid fire, you're gaining 30% more big dam. And I'd say that's pretty important. Other than that, though, we're prioritizing movement speed and slapping on the concussive strikes aspect. Next up, we have an interesting new item thrown into the mix, or well, reworked. The Sky Hunter is actually looking real solid this season, being buffed to the fucking moon, seeing as crit damage is going to be the most important stat in this build. And this one has a bunch of it along with a great aspect and chance to hit twice. Just a lovely piece, really. Either way, try to masterwork either the chance to hit twice or crit damage. Next we go for aspect of expectant. You can use either swords or daggers here, but daggers are preferred as they hit faster. On the final one, you're also going to temper caltrop size. And why not duration like previously? Because it has been bug fixed, obviously. Alright, and finally we have the jewelry. The retribution aspect is just goated as fuck. And the amount of great passives we can get on the amulet now is just humongous. Like my... Wait, feels like I've done this joke before. Anyhow, frigid finesse is typically the strongest. Then it depends on what your playstyle is. Exploit is a safe bet, and trick attacks is supposedly double dipping. And I say supposedly because that's PTR information, so that could potentially be the strongest. Another important thing you need to know here is that you're going to need cold imbuement temper here, and then on the ring, which should preferably be master worked. With this, you should be able to spam that shit with ease. And for aspect, we're rocking the rapid aspect and scoundrel's kiss. Well, shit. That's the gear and aspects done. Now let me just check something. Yeah, I was correct. It's indeed skill tree of fucking clock, and you know it, baby. Starting off, we're rocking puncture to generate our combo points along with an easy way of obtaining vulnerable on bosses. We then head straight on over to the core skills where find our beloved urinator. Also, grab enhanced rapid fire so we can gain advanced rapid fire afterwards. This skill is just fucking bonkers, and we need to keep spamming some evades between each urination due to this. Also, grab the defensives here, as they are our main source of healing. We then go to the agility skills, where we want basically everything. Shadow Step also got a massive buff, now generating damage reduction. This is also where we find enhanced caltrops, boosting our damage, along with unstable elixir and tricks attacks. The latter two is new for the season, and absolutely bonkers. Unstable elixir also means that you'll need to chug a potion every 10 seconds. In the subterfuge skills, we have a few lovely passives, and Dark Shroud. In the pushing variant, you're also looking to grab Smoke Grenade here. In the imbuement skills, we want Cold Imbuement along with Enhanced and Mixed Cold Imbuement for that massive big dam bonus. We also have Frigid Finesse here, granting a whopping 10% big dam per rank against frozen enemies. And finally, the key passive. Precision is just massive, allowing us to gain a buttload of multiplicative damage from crit along with free crits in itself. Just lovely. Alright, you still here? Just a safety precaution, in case I'm on a second monitor, here's a little surprise. Hell yeah. When it comes to the Paragon, there are more broken nodes and glyphs that we can possibly handle. Just bonker node after node. And starting off, we want Canny for the extra damage. We then go to the buffed tricks of the trade node, grab that, and socket the exploit glyph to instantly gain vulnerable. Up here, we also have Eldritch Bounty, which is an important node that we want to grab last seeing, as there are no rare nodes up there. Instead, go to Deadly Ambush for the big dam and socket Fluidity for, yeah, you guessed it, even more big dam. After that, we head on over to pick up Exploit Weakness and socket Combat with ease. This is due to the buttload of crit damage it provides. We then want the Cheap Shot Legendary node, which also got buffed and is now usable on bosses, and we socket Control for a whopping 20% big fucking damn. And finally, Cunning Stratagem. And what the hell does this even do? Well, damn, it grants us additional arrows as we're urinating. That's what it does. We also find 10% all resistance here, helping us sort that shit out. Well, damn, will you look at that. Paragons successfully completed. Let's learn how to get hecking good, my friends. Both a blessing and a curse of this build is that you can actually make it better, but not being a shit newbie. Meaning a god gamer may actually push higher than the average one brain cell dad gamer out there if he actually tries. But that's also what makes it fun. First off, the standard rotation is 3 punctures, followed by popping cold imbuement and busting all over the place with rapid fire. On elites and bosses though, we want to start using caltrops. Just drop that down and start blasting. Now this is where a bit of skill and finesse comes in. First, you want to either dash or shadow step roughly each 8 seconds to gain tricks of the trade buff. Secondly, you want to evade once every 5 seconds. You can also animation cancel the rapid fire if you evade just as you throw it out, but that may a bit too try hard, so fuck that. And finally, every 10 seconds you need to chug a potion, as you'll then gain the unstable elixir buff for big damn. If you do all of this, then you'll become the god gamer you were always meant to be. Here's the checklist for you. Alright, that's all for this one. Sub and stay shredded kings.